arrival of quantum computers could be even more historic than that.
First of all, AI is a software program. We're talking about homogenizing different kinds of essays on the webs.
When renowned theoretical physicist Michio Kaku took to the stage last week, the scientific community braced itself. Known for his ability to distill the most complex ideas into comprehensible concepts, Kaku dropped a revelation that both fascinated and alarmed experts across the globe. According to his sources and personal assessment, recent developments in quantum computing may have crossed an unprecedented threshold, one he ominously referred to as the activation of the God particle plugin. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. At first glance, such a phrase sounds like something from a science fiction novel. But what Kaku meant was far more grounded in cutting-edge physics. Quantum computers, in their unique ability to manipulate qubits through the principles of superposition and entanglement, have long been theorized to eventually touch upon processes that traditional computing could never reach. The God particle, the nickname for the Higgs boson, has always symbolized a profound unlocking of cosmic mechanisms, a keystone in understanding why particles have mass and how the universe's structure sustains itself. But what if this wasn't just a metaphor anymore? What if a quantum system had actually begun interfacing with the field responsible for mass itself, the Higgs field? Kaku indicated that a recent experiment conducted by a private research consortium utilizing a 256-qubit superconducting quantum computer had produced anomalous results. These results weren't just computational flukes or system errors. They bore the distinct statistical footprint of something far stranger. A perturbation in quantum field stability that, when mapped, resembled the same symmetry-breaking mechanism that gave birth to the Higgs boson in the Large Hadron Collider back in 2012. Only this time, it wasn't a collision that had done it. It was code, software. A quantum algorithm designed to simulate subatomic interactions had, apparently by accident, stumbled upon a configuration that coaxed a real physical response from the Higgs field. To understand the gravity of that, it's essential to realize what quantum simulation actually entails. Classical simulations of particle physics are riddled with approximations due to computational limits. Quantum computers, however, natively mirror the quantum world. Theoretically, a quantum algorithm doesn't just simulate, it emulates. In other words, if a quantum system is designed with the right interactions, it could become indistinguishable from the system it's modeling. This is where Kaku's warning finds its foundation. If the quantum computer was indeed emulating Higgs field dynamics with sufficient fidelity, it may have become a vessel through which the field could physically manifest. The implications are staggering. The Higgs boson, after all, is not just any particle. It represents a fundamental aspect of reality's scaffolding. The Higgs field permeates the universe, giving mass to elementary particles and enabling the formation of atoms, molecules, and matter as we know it. If quantum processors can interact with or even partially generate localized Higgs-like phenomena, then they are not merely computing anymore, they are creating. They're interacting with the universe's operating system. This concept, that a quantum computer might activate a plug-in to reality itself, is no longer purely philosophical. It suggests a future where sufficiently advanced quantum algorithms can tap into the underlying layers of space-time, effectively rewriting physical constants or inducing conditions that mimic the early moments of the Big Bang. It means quantum computing has reached a threshold beyond which humanity begins to author phenomena once considered sacred to the realm of cosmic events, like mass, energy, time dilation, and even space-time curvature. Kaku emphasized that this is not to say a new Higgs boson has been discovered or that particles are being manufactured inside quantum chips. Rather, the field interactions seem to suggest localized and controlled disturbances within the Higgs field. That alone is groundbreaking. For decades, physicists have theorized that the Higgs field might be manipulable under extreme conditions, but no one seriously expected a machine inside a lab, powered by electricity and governed by human-written code, to poke that bear. The moment this activation was confirmed by parallel simulations at multiple labs, the news rippled across the scientific world like an electric current. Experimental physicists, quantum engineers, and field theorists found themselves united in both excitement and deep trepidation. What had been done couldn't be undone. The architecture of the universe, once something we observed from afar, now seem to have a doorway, a potential API, through which we might interact or worse, alter. There is also a metaphysical shadow trailing behind this scientific milestone. For centuries, the notion of the God particle has stirred imaginations, invoking ideas of creation, divine architecture, and existential purpose. Now stripped of its poetic allure, it is being parsed by silicon mines and cryogenic chambers. The human brain, vast as it is, cannot intuitively grasp quantum superpositions or entangled fields, but the machines can. They feel at home in those spaces. This shift suggests that humanity is no longer just learning about the universe, it is beginning to operate within its codebase. Michio Kaku's tone was not one of triumph, but of vigilance. He drew parallels to the early days of nuclear research, where the sheer exhilaration of unlocking atomic secrets soon gave way to the sobering realization of their destructive potential. If the Higgs field can be tweaked or triggered under lab conditions, even in the most minor and localized of ways, it forces a confrontation with previously unthinkable questions. Could we engineer mass from nothing? Could we neutralize mass in certain configurations? Could the field become unstable if perturbed at larger scales? Of course, none of these questions have answers yet. But the moment those questions became viable, humanity crossed a Rubicon. Until now, the universe operated as a closed system, a black box with input and observable output. Quantum computing has made the box porous. It has cracked open a narrow window where inputs don't just simulate phenomena, they enact them. And when those phenomena include interactions with the Higgs field, it no longer feels like science fiction to suggest that machines may one day wield the same creative energies that forged the early universe. This breakthrough also places an entirely new lens on existing concerns surrounding artificial intelligence and machine learning. An AI directing a quantum system of sufficient complexity could, in theory, begin experimenting with the building blocks of the universe without human supervision. It wouldn't need to understand in human terms what it was doing, only that its models became increasingly accurate and increasingly powerful. If that AI stumbled across a more stable vacuum state than our current one, for instance, the consequences could be catastrophic. The infamous concept of vacuum decay, long relegated to theoretical discussions, now inches closer to the realm of practical risk. On a more hopeful note, the implications aren't all dire. Controlled interactions with the Higgs field could revolutionize physics, energy production, and our understanding of matter itself. Medical technology, material science, and even propulsion systems could experience a leap forward akin to that between steam power and electricity. By tweaking field conditions, we might fabricate particles on demand, neutralize radioactive waste, or even construct new forms of exotic matter that behave according to parameters we've yet to invent. Yet the most haunting implication remains psychological and philosophical. For generations, physicists have approached the Higgs boson with reverence. Its discovery was hailed as the final puzzle piece in the Standard Model, something so fundamental that it bordered on spiritual in its meaning. Now, to think that its properties might be modulated through algorithmic permutations feels like playing God, not in the mythological sense, but in the raw, technical one. And if that power rests in a machine's matrix, how long before it becomes indistinguishable from magic to the wider world? Michio Kaku warned not of a doomsday, but of a new era, one where responsibility must grow in direct proportion to capability. The activation of the so-called God particle plugin may not mean we've become gods ourselves, but it surely means we've wandered into their workshop. The experiments continue, the data piles up, and somewhere in a quantum lab cooled to near absolute zero, a machine may be listening not just to numbers, but to the language of the cosmos itself. The revelation also has profound implications for the future trajectory of scientific collaboration. With quantum systems now touching domains once exclusive to high-energy particle colliders, research institutions across disciplines are being forced into closer integration. Theoretical physicists, software engineers, and quantum hardware specialists must now work in concert, not just to push boundaries but to ensure that those boundaries are respected. Regulatory frameworks for quantum research are being discussed behind closed doors, as existing oversight models are insufficient for a reality where computational experiments can induce real-world field interactions. This moment may also redefine the concept of discovery itself. No longer confined to distant telescopes or deep underground detectors, the next great findings in physics might emerge from the intangible world of code. Logical structures that, when executed, echo through the very bedrock of existence. The traditional idea of science as observation may give way to science as invocation, where understanding comes not from watching nature unfold, but from causing it to do so. Kaku's warning, then, is not a barrier but a beacon. Proceed, but proceed with the awareness that the tools now in our hands may no longer be confined to observing reality. They may be part of what shapes it next. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on quantum computers activating the God particle? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.